All right.
This is another hot mic.
All right, guys, we'll get going today. It's good to see all of you. We'll get going with the July 9th Lewisville Town Council meeting. It's good to see everyone here today. We'll begin with a roll call. I'll start with my right to my left.
Mac Wilder.
Good evening, Stacy Howard.
I'm Billy Carter.
Good evening, Jerry Gallagher.
Good evening. I am Brady Allen.
And I am Fred Franklin. Glad to see all of you here tonight.
Awesome. We also have our town manager, Stacy Tolbert, our town attorney, Mr. Al Andrews, our town deputy, PJ Stringer, I'm so sorry, I'm going to get it right next time I see you. We have our planning director, Lynn Cochran. We also have in the back, Miss Veronica Leisure. Thank you for my birthday items in my office today. I just saw it. I had a birthday on the 7th. We have our tough cookie, our town clerk, Miss Angie Lord as well. And we'll go ahead and get going, guys. We'll begin with the invocation from Councilmember Fred Franklin, and then the Pledge of Allegiance by Mayor Pro Tem.
If you'll bow. Our Father, as we begin this meeting, we start by asking for humility. Whenever ideas are shared, there will always be the temptation for us to be proud. We will be tempted to defend our ideas too strongly. We will be tempted to dismiss others' opinions without carefully considering them. We know that in the James 4:6, the Bible tells us, God opposes the proud, but shows favor to the humble. Help us approach this meeting with a humble heart, open to hearing and learning from one another. Let your Spirit guide our discussions so that we may come to decisions that are not just based on our own understanding, but also on your wisdom and guidance. We thank you for the reminder to remain humble and to seek unity in all that we do. May this meeting be a reflection of your love, grace, and humility. In your precious name, amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. And so we'll begin with an adoption of the agenda. Council, you guys have had a chance to view the agenda before today's meeting. If we don't have any requests for any changes, I'll ask for a motion to adopt the agenda.
Motion to adopt the agenda.
Second.
There's a motion from Councilmember Jerry Gallagher and a second from our Mayor Pro Tem, Stacey Howard. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that's 6-0. The motion is adopted. And also, guys, I'm sorry, we have our Councilmember Suzanne Newsom, who is not here today, but she'll be here next time as well. I wanted to tell you guys, hey. Awesome. Next, we will have our resolution 2. We'll have our consent agenda, which I will have our town manager read off. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. Tonight's consent agenda is Resolution 2026-027, financial statements for 11 months ended May 31st of 2026, and approval of agenda briefing minutes for June 4th of 2026.
Motion to approve.
All right, Council, I have a motion from Councilmember Franklin,
Second.
second from our Councilmember Brady Allen. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, and the consent agenda is adopted. Next, we'll go to item 3. First, we'll begin with our presentations. One of my favorite parts of this role is giving out this award for our citizens. I am one of the reasons Lewisville is a great place to live. I think this award really, the spirit of this award really champions what Lewisville is about. Our neighbors working together, folks standing up for one another and serving the town in a variety of ways. So I'm going to have our town manager take over for this award here.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So the I'm One of the Reasons Lewisville is a Great Place to Live award is presented to select individuals who make Lewisville a great place to live, obviously. An individual may be nominated for any reason as long as it can be clearly demonstrated their activities or other contributions have improved the quality of life for residents or the town in general. Tonight, Before us is a nomination for Mrs. Gretchen Roberts. Gretchen has been nominated for the award for her contributions to the town. She has dedicated numerous hours in the planning and implementation of Lewisville Earth Day events and the planning and implementation of Lewisville's first Community Day. Every year at these events, Gretchen is committed to securing vendors, preparing information for them, organizing their setup and placement, and even made each vendor a snack bag with a thank you card on behalf of the town. Gretchen has also served on the Environmental Conservation and Sustainability Committee since August of 2021. The town thanks her for her commitment and her service and would like to award her the I'm One of the Reasons Lewisville is a Great Place to Live award. Gretchen, if you would come up front, please.
Let's give a round of applause for Ms. Gretchen. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gretchen.
It's wonderful to have folks like that in the town. It's one thing to talk about your town on social media, but it's one thing to actually come here and serve either on the planning board, either to come to our meetings, but to actually serve and put your actual blood and sweat into Lewisville really means a lot. So thank you. Item, we have our Mr. PJ coming here for our presentation. Thank you, PJ.
All right. Hope everybody's having a good week. The stats for the month of June, 747 calls for service, 277 security checks, 22 traffic arrests and citations, 14 alarms, and our priority response time around 6 minutes. So just remind everybody, lots of road construction going on in the area. Be patient. I did want to mention that we do have an event on July 22nd. You may have, if you followed the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office as well as the town of Lewisville, we're doing a coffee with a cop, July 22nd from 9 to 11 at the Coffee Mill. The owner, Jeff, has been gracious enough to host this event. Highway Patrol will be there, our local deputies, some town council, town staff. If anybody wants to come, we encourage you to come out. Members of the community come out just for a good cup of coffee and some fellowship and just some great discussion. So I hope everybody will make an effort to try to attend that event. So there'll be some more information being posted with the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office as well as the town of Lewisville. So,
PJ, that date again, please.
July 22nd.
Okay, thank you.
I believe that's on a Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken.
Thank you, sir.
Yep, 9 to 11. Hopefully it won't be 104 degrees trying to drink coffee.
Iced coffee, iced coffee.
There you
Iced
go.
coffee, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
PJ, I have just one quick question.
Yes.
In the past few months, of course, we've had a little bit of a higher increase in our calls. Do you think there's any certain type of call that we're getting more often this year?
Sometimes
than last?
these fraud calls have caused that to come up, and like I spoke last month, we're still getting hit with people being scammed out of money. So I would encourage you to try to spread that. These folks are getting creative. They're using emergency contacts. They're using Bitcoins, scan, barcodes, and you got to understand once you put that money in those accounts, it's gone. So be real careful of the information that you get. If you suspect that a deputy is not really a deputy, there's nothing wrong with hanging up, calling the non-emergency number, and asking to be transferred back to there. So these scammers are very creative. They use very forceful. They'll try to make you be intimidated to try to keep you on the phone, scare tactics. So we have to protect ourselves from these online scams. So that would be the only thing that I could see that would cause that to spike up. So.
Awesome. Any other thoughts from council? Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, now this will be the first of our 2 public forums. We have a chance for residents to be able to address the council. We have had a sign-in sheets that have been around. Do we have any sign-ins so far?
I did not have anyone submit a sign-in.
Okay, that's totally fine. If there's anyone in the audience who wants to address the council, there will be 3-minute time intervals, and you can come on up.
Steve Thompson, 737 Lewisville Clemens Road. I just want to thank PJ. I have noticed the difference in, patrolling, and I see the numbers went up, so thank you so much.
All right, any other folks from the audience? All right. And we'll go to our next item. We're moving pretty quickly here. So we have no old business. We'll go to item 6 for new business. Resolution 2026025, a call for a public hearing rezoning request for Conrad Farm North. We'll have our planning director, Lynn, speak about that.
Good evening, everyone. It's good to see you all.
Good evening.
Resolution 2026-025 is a call for a public hearing for rezoning, case number L117, Conrad Farm North. This is a request to rezone from agricultural to agricultural conditional, specifically for a planned residential development. The proposed development will contain 31 homes, and the planning board reviewed this on June 10th and voted unanimously to recommend approval. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
I just have a comment or question for the attorney before we start on Conrad Farm. I happen to be a resident of Conrad Farm, so I know this project very well. And I just want to ensure that it's not a conflict of interest for me to vote on the matter.
Thank you, Councilmember Gallagher. So a couple of points about that. In quasi-judicial matters that come before certain boards of the town, there's a very delineated standard, almost test of conflicts of interest and things that disqualify a person from voting. This is a legislative matter that will happen, so those standards do not apply. But the general standards, which come from two places for you, are relevant. I'm going to first deal with the statutory piece, and then I'll deal with Lewisville's code. So just so you'll have it, you may not remember it, but just so it's sort of spread upon the records, there's a statute in North Carolina that's roughly applicable. I'm going to read some of its provisions, and then we'll discuss it if necessary. General Statute 160D-109 deals with conflicts of interest. And basically, a governing board member shall not vote on any legislative decision regarding a development regulation where the outcome of the matter being considered is reasonably likely to have a direct, substantial, and readily identifiable financial impact on a member. The governing board member shall not vote on any zoning amendment if the landowner of the property subject to a rezoning petition or the applicant for a text amendment is a person with whom the person has a close familial, business, or other associational relationships. So the key provisions in that statute deal with financial impact, and generally what we look at is whether you're going to get some sort of unjust reward or some kind of financial benefit as a result of the decision you may make. And what that means is almost like self-dealing, which is a separate statute. If you vote on a matter that will provide you remuneration, what regular people call money, compensation, you can't do that.
So it wouldn't specifically have anything to do with the impact on property values? No?
No.
Okay.
Now, if an expert somehow testifies before you that your property, as opposed to other people affected, is going to have a substantial increase in value, I didn't say a diminution, increase in value, I may advise you that since you are separately benefited as opposed to others in your situation, which from the bit I know about this is not applicable, then I would advise you to recuse, but not in a situation where you're one of many people affected. That would not be the case. Now, I don't know your relationship with the applicant, but unless you have a close familial or business relationship, you are not conflicted in that regard.
I do not have a close familial relationship with the applicant.
So we'll let the record reflect that there is not a reason why you have a standing conflict of interest.
Okay.
in this matter.
Thank you. And I did a little digging on the history when Conrad Farm was first approved, and I got the minutes from the meeting July 13, 2017. And I thought it was fascinating. It was quasi-judicial. I have 60 pages worth of minutes that I went through. It was about a 4-5 hour meeting, and Mr. Franklin was there, actually, and Mayor Horn. But what I found, it was quasi-judicial, so it's not going to be what's happening upcoming in August. But what I found is what the council members had to do. They had to act as jurors to make a decision about whether this could go through. It was not a zoning issue. It was a special use permit for a planned residential development. That's what happened in 2017. Now, here's something interesting that I think could apply to any time we have to deal with making a judgment call about zoning. There were 4 issues that had to be considered that the council members had to say were either satisfied by the applicant or not satisfied by the applicant. Number 1, that the use will not materially endanger the public health or safety if located where proposed. That the use meets, number 2, use meets all required conditions and specifications. Number 3, that the use will not substantially injure the value of adjoining or abutting property. And number 4, that the location and character of the use, if developed according to the application and plan submitted and approved, will be in harmony with the area in which it is to be located and in general conformity with the Lewisville Comprehensive Plan. So I thought these were guidelines that could be applied to any zoning issue, unless this is, any of those do not. I don't know what your opinion
Okay,
is.
so you've just read a quasi-judicial
I did, yes.
provision from an entirely different matter than
I
what is
know.
before you. So, no, they cannot be applied. That's a different type of proceeding. Now, how you come to your independent decisions, you have
Yes.
latitude. So within your own heart, you use that as a part of how you make your vote. You may do so. It's just not the specific basis.
Right.
In a quasi-judicial hearing for a special use permit, there's 2 things. There's special uses permits, and there's things called variances that are quasi-judicial. And you have to almost block check and address each of those as you decide and when you speak out the decision. And the only reason I'm taking this time, since you have read that for the hearing of the people, is I want them to understand the difference, because North Carolina is a very different state than it was in 2017. And whatever decision you make, I want you to make it based on the 2026 standards for legislative matters. So I can elaborate if need be, but I do recognize what you spoke of, and I wanted to just address that specifically.
Okay.
Excuse me, Mayor.
Yeah.
In essence of not cutting Ms. Gallagher short by any means, I don't believe tonight's meeting is the appropriate place to get into these discussions. I think what we need to do is go on and set the public hearing, if you will, and then as we proceed into the public hearing, that is the time to get into these discussions, because we have nothing before us tonight to deal with Conrad Farm except for the motion to set the public hearing, which I'm making at this point in time to pass Resolution 2026-025, calling for the public hearing for our August meeting.
Yeah, Councilmember Franklin, I agree with you as well. I just wanted her to let her ask her question as well. So, yeah, but I totally agree. This is only for the call for the public hearing. There will be a chance for the public to give their feedback as well, that we can discuss the issue more as a town. So we have a motion from Councilmember Franklin,
Second.
Second from Councilmember Wilder. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, and that's approved. We have approved motion 2026025 for Conrad Farm North public hearing. Our next item will be Resolution 2026026 for a public hearing and rezoning request for Marian's Landing, and I'll let Lynn take over there.
Thank you, Mayor. Similarly, Resolution 2026-026, which is kind of fun to say, actually, is a call for a public hearing for a rezoning request, L118 Marian's Landing. This is a reiteration of a different type of plan that was submitted originally by Four Star and McAdams a few months ago that did not meet what we felt like were the criteria for rezoning. They have retooled the application and are bringing in an application for 61 single-family residential homes in a planned residential development, conditional zoning, very similar to Conrad Farm in the process and how that works. And with that, I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Lynn, are these the exact same applicants, Four Star, McAdams, except
They are.
we're now labeling this as the Marian's Landing, I suppose, subdivision, for lack of a better term?
Right, they are. The Four Star and McAdams are still the applicants.
Okay,
They just gave a name to the project this time.
thank you.
Any other thoughts from council? All right, may I have a motion to approve this resolution?
Motion to approve.
Motion from our Mayor Pro Tem, and may I have a
Second.
second? All right, second from Councilmember Allen. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, and the motion is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lynn. All right, and next we'll have our town manager take over with our admin reports. Got some good events coming up for our town and citizens around us. Stacey can take over there.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
So a few things happening in July and early August. This Saturday, July the 11th, is Camel City Yacht Club. They will be performing in concert at Shalford Square from 7 to 9 p.m. Come and enjoy the smooth rock of the 70s and 80s. The Lewisville Town Council, next week on Monday, July 13th at 6 p.m. here in council chambers, will hold a special meeting to discuss a censure matter. On Saturday, July 25th, the Crystal Aria Band will be at the square playing electrifying party music from 7 until 9 p.m. And then lastly, on Tuesday, August the 4th, the town will host our 4th annual National Night Out from 6 until 8 p.m. at the square. Come and support our dedicated law enforcement, firefighters, EMS, and more. There will be games, activities, and a free hot dog meal while supplies last.
One question. PJ, you gonna be in the Duncan booth? Absolutely. I hear you.
Yeah,
I'm gonna bring my spaghetti arm on up there since you said I had one.
hey, PJ, they got me in the booth too, so I'm going to have to come to you for some advice. I'm not a good junk talker, I'll tell you the truth. Yeah. All right. Next, we'll have our clerk report.
Yes, Mayor and Council. The only thing that I really have tonight is I wanted to highlight the Public Arts Committee has a quarterly art exhibit that is now in place over at the Mary Alice Warren Community Center. We had an artist talk last night where artist Maria Sinkel kind of walked us through some of her creativity and how her carvings and her drawings come to be, and it was a great, I really enjoyed it. It was a great turnout, and everybody really seemed to enjoy her storytelling about her artwork. So that exhibit will be up until the end of September, so I invite council and the community to make their way over there. She has included little stories that are underneath her paintings to tell you like a little history behind it and what it represents. So I encourage everybody to attend that while it's up in the community center.
Awesome. That's wonderful.
Angie, just one quick question. Our open ZBOA position, do we have any progress or interest
I
or
have
status
not
change there?
I have not received any applications at this point.
All right. Thank you for the update.
You're welcome.
Open spot for somebody out there, right? All right. Next, we'll move on to for the good of order. We'll begin with any public comments. This is the second of two opportunities for the public to address the council. We would love to hear your thoughts. All right. I guess you guys are ready to get to dinner. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and close on out with any council comments for the day for the good of order. I'm sorry, our town attorney.
Mr. Mayor, I don't usually comment this time, but just to make you aware, there's been legislative action in Raleigh. The state passed the Appropriations Act, which is the budget. There are many provisions of that document that were not specifically budget-related. I commend to your reading that act or summaries of it because it is long. There are significant and substantial matters that occurred in that act. For instance, there was the complete eradication and removal of the North Carolina hub provisions and hub office. I'm assuming you know what the hub office is. Looking at your furrowed brows, I will tell you what it is. It is called Historically Underutilized Businesses. It's an acronym. In local communities, it's sometimes called MWBE. But the legislator eradicated any use of that term in reference to it and all the tentacles. This affects government contracting and participation by what locally are known as minority firms in government contracting. It removes that provision. So I do commend it to your reading. If you have questions, please let me know. There are also land use provisions that are included that are fairly extensive. I won't go through them now because time's not appropriate, but if after looking at that you have questions or if you're curious about that, please reach out and I'll tell you. But there were a lot of things that affected local government in the Budget Act or the budget bill. And as elected officials, you must review that and understand that. And to the extent I feel they are relevant to what you do here, I will certainly specifically let you know. But I did not want the opportunity to be missed to not let you know about that.
I'll chime in.
Sure.
To add to that. Last week, the League of Municipalities sent each of us an email, because we're on their mailing list, that was right after this budget passed, and it had a long explanation, and it had a lot of links on it to go to those specific provisions that he is talking about that are affecting municipalities all across the state. That is a good read. So that's a good place to start, to catch up. And those obviously affect municipalities. So that's a good place to start to figure out what happened in Raleigh last week, how it might affect us, So thought I'd point that out. That comes out about every Friday. They've got good information from the league letter. We get a lot of stuff on our email system, but that's one
Right.
you ought to try to click on and scan each time you get that one from the league municipalities.
Yeah, I read each one of those letters, those emails that come out, because with our current General Assembly, you definitely got to stay on top of it. Not only do I read the letters, but also talk to folks who are kind of in the rooms and who are trying to, protect small towns like us from the folks who are in the room trying to hurt small towns like us. So yeah, we'll definitely stay on top of that. And thank you so much for that, Al. You would think with all the time that it takes to pass a budget that, you would have just a clean budget without all the nonsense, but we will keep fighting for our residents. So thank you. All right. Any more council comments?
Well, I would just like to say a happy belated 4th of July. And surprisingly, I did a lot of watching of the World Cup, which I never ever do, rarely watch sports, but I was so taken by just the world coming to here in the United States, to Canada, to seeing them play in Boston, in New Jersey, and celebrating America. And it was just a really warm feeling to see that camaraderie and that togetherness and appreciation of us as a country. And I just want to say, I know here up on this dais we have different political affiliations, but I feel very proud to serve with this team because I feel that all of us here really have the best interests of Lewisville in our hearts. We might go about it in different ways, but I think that's what we really are all about. So I'm proud to serve with this team.
Go ahead, please.
Again, as Councilmember Gallagher reiterated, happy belated 4th of July. And I'll call to attention that next month, August 12th, the mayor and I and the rest of council will be hosting the second Small Business Roundtable for further discussions at the Mary Alice Warren Community Center at 6 p.m. And so if you are a small business owner here in Lewisville and you're listening to this, please add that to your calendar to attend discussions with us.
I've got a question for Al. Al, I got an email that you sent at 4:26 p.m. today concerning our meeting that's coming up on Monday. Haven't had a chance to really digest it yet as far as that is concerned. I guess the question that I have is, once we convene the meeting on Monday, you do plan to provide guidance and more structure and review how this proceeding should go before we get into it. Is that correct?
That is correct. I'd like to elaborate if I may.
Yes, sir. I mean, the reason I'm asking this question is you were not at our briefing meeting last week, and I'm sure there have been questions like this would have been asked at the briefing meeting. So, I'll give you an opportunity to expand.
Sure. So the meeting that's coming up on Monday is pursuant to a portion of your code of ethics. There are things called censure provisions in there. They do not provide a sort of set of very, very tight guidelines on how that meeting happens. And so you have not enacted any. So I won't create any in your stead. I'm not legislative, so I can't create rules of procedure. But what I can do is, based on what is there, give you guidance before and in the hearing. I am your advisor. I'm not the prosecutor. I'm not a defense attorney or anything like that. I'm just your counsel, your advisor, and we'll do so. I'll also do a script that all of you will have that will cover the broad concepts that you should hit. That script is going to be general because you have not enacted a specific set of guidelines for that. So the purpose of the script will be that you cover the points and reiterate the standard of review. But outside of some rights that are granted to the council member who is the subject of the proceeding that are identified in that email and that come directly from their 3 specific rights, they will be addressed before you begin deliberations or before we have the hearing, and they are included there for you. I do encourage you to look at that, and to, if you have questions, please feel free. But you have wide latitude outside of ensuring that the council member has access to those rights. You have wide latitude, and like I will say, this Robert's Rules, which is used by people who do this but never followed, but Robert's Rules provides for motions, and do be mindful that when a motion is laid upon the table, and I've heard you, Fred, remind people that motion's got to be dealt with unless it's been amended or superseded somehow. So a motion laying on the table, you need to go through and need to vote on, or need to second and vote on that motion. So just keep that in mind, because the proceeding does call for motions to be made. And it doesn't say what the motion has to be. Motions, as you know, can be in favor of an act or against an act. And whichever motion comes first is the one that's voted on. Do you understand what I just said? Okay? So, being that that's the case, we'll send to you a bit of a script. The presiding officer tends to lead these matters. You all have a voice, but just so that there's momentum and things continue to go forward, the presiding officer will move you through that proceeding, largely based on what you as a group consider to be appropriate. I will give you structure of how you can do that, but again, since it's not mandated, you have a lot of latitude. And I can elaborate more, but that's kind of where we are with this.
As long as you recap Monday.
Yes.
Thank you.
I want to thank staff and also any of the deputies and law enforcement that have been out there working in this heat. Thank you all so much. I know it's been tough, and appreciate all your efforts to keep the town running regardless of the temperatures. And I also want to thank everyone that's here spending their time with us tonight. Glad to see you a part of all this. We welcome your company at the meetings anytime. Thank you.
Anything, Councilman? Okay, I'll close up. Thanks you guys for all coming today. It's good to see you all. One thing I've been telling everyone, one that I see is drink some water. It's very hot these days. There's a lot of people that I know who are kind of dealing with heat exhaustion as they're out there. And as Mayor Pro Tem said, our workers who are doing construction, it's very important whether you're outside for a few minutes or a long time to drink water. One item as well is I'm looking forward to our small business roundtable. As Councilman Allen said, we're going to have that second session. We have some new changes that I think will be exciting for some of the small business owners here in the town as we look to make it easier for you guys to do business here in Lewisville. So we're looking forward to that August 12th date there. And then my last thing for the town in general, always remember that this council is very approachable. If you ever have any questions or you're not sure what's going on with the Lewisville Town Council, you can always email myself directly. Any of our members are always here. I will say that it's a slippery slope with social media, and so I just want to give another reminder for many of our citizens, because one thing that really tears my heart up is to see misinformation and disinformation and just negativity spewing all on social media about our town. So if there's ever any questions, the mayor is here, front and center, ready to talk to you, ready to have coffee with you. So just want to put that out there for you guys.
Mayor, I'll add to that and say I've had coffee with the residents, I've had lunch with the residents, I've had phone calls with the residents.
Same here.
I can't go in the grocery store without
Right.
having conversations with residents, and I don't mean that negatively. I enjoy that aspect of it, and so I say all of that to say I welcome any kind of appointment, phone call, any time I can spend time and have conversations with any resident here. I just want to reiterate alongside the mayor with that.
Thank you so much. Awesome. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right, motion from Councilmember Franklin,
Second?
second from Councilmember Allen. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you, guys. I remember.
Almost moved.
All right. That's right. Happy birthday. Oh, thank you.